Right now, at this very moment, American military personnel are operating in 105 countries. That's not a typo. 177 nations, from tiny Djibouti in East Africa to massive Japan, from Germany to Australia, from South Korea to Qatar. American troops, American bases, American weapons. Everywhere. China operates in maybe 5 countries, Russia in about 10. Even NATO allies like France or the UK have military presence in maybe 15 to 20 nations. But America? 170. So here's the question nobody asks. How is this legal? Why do these countries allow it? And why can't anyone else do the same? The answer reveals the real source of American power. And it's not what you think. Welcome to Battlefield Insights, where we analyze American military power with facts and data. Today we're breaking down the global network of US military presence that most people don't even know exists. And more importantly, we're explaining how it's actually legal. This isn't about bases alone. This is about the framework of agreements, treaties, and strategic partnerships built over 80 years that allow the United States to project power anywhere on Earth within hours. Let's start with the history, 1945. World War II ends. The United States has troops stationed across Europe, Japan, the Philippines, and dozens of other locations. Standard occupation after winning a war, right? Except here's what's different. They never left. Why? Because Europe and Asia were destroyed. Germany was rubble. Japan was occupied. France, Italy, the UK, all devastated. They needed American protection to rebuild. And there was a new threat: Soviet expansion. The Iron Curtain was falling across Eastern Europe, so the United States made a deal with these countries. We'll stay. We'll defend you. We'll help you rebuild through the Marshall Plan. But in return, you allow permanent US military presence, permanent bases, permanent access. West Germany agreed because they feared the Soviets. Japan agreed because they were occupied and under US control. South Korea invited US troops during the Korean War and never asked them to leave because North Korea still exists. This pattern repeated across the world. By 1955, the United States had bases in 50 countries. By 1990, over 100. Today, 177. But how is this actually legal? That's where it gets fascinating. The legal mechanism is called a Status of Forces Agreement, SOFA. It's a formal treaty between the United States and the host nation that grants American military personnel permission to operate on their soil. And here's the key. Both countries have to agree to it. These aren't occupations, they're partnerships. The host country says, yes, you can station troops here, because they get something in return. Security guarantees, training for their military, intelligence sharing, access to American weapons, and most importantly, protection. Under SOFA agreements, US military personnel often have special legal status. They're usually not subject to local criminal law for actions performed on duty. Instead, they're tried under US military law. This protects American troops, but also gives host nations plausible deniability for controversial operations. Take Germany. The US has 35 military installations there. Why does Germany allow this 80 years after World War II ended? Because these bases protect against Russian aggression. They provide jobs to Germans, and they make Germany a key player in NATO defense strategy. Japan hosts 55,000 US troops. Why? Because China is 500 miles away, and Japan's constitution limits its own military. South Korea has 28,000 US troops because North Korea has 1.2 million soldiers 30 miles from Seoul. These countries want American bases. That's the difference. These base layouts are strictly regulated under the SOFA framework. US-controlled zones are clearly defined, ensuring local sovereignty is respected while allowing for necessary military operations. The host country receives significant benefits, including economic investment and jobs for local civilians. This makes the partnership sustainable over the long term. Ultimately, geography dictates the terms of these agreements. Proximity to potential adversaries makes these alliances vital for regional stability and peace.
So what does the United States actually provide that makes 177 countries say yes? First, instant security. An American base in your country means any attack on you is potentially an attack on U.S. forces. That's a deterrent no adversary wants to test. Second, rapid response capability. When ISIS took over Iraq in 2014, U.S. forces deployed from bases in Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain within 48 hours. When North Korea threatens, U.S. troops in South Korea can respond in minutes. This kind of speed is only possible with forward-deployed forces. Third, training and equipment. The U.S. trains allied militaries at these bases. Polish soldiers train with Americans in Poland. Filipino forces train with U.S. Marines in the Philippines. This creates interoperability, meaning these forces can fight together if needed. Fourth, intelligence sharing. U.S. bases come with American intelligence networks, satellites, cyber capabilities, signals intelligence. Host countries get access to information they couldn't gather alone. That's incredibly valuable. Fifth, economic benefits. U.S. military bases employ local workers, rent local facilities, and pump billions into host economies. Okinawa's economy depends heavily on U.S. bases. So does Guam. So do parts of Germany. This creates political constituencies that want bases to stay. Show the value proposition clearly. Before, after comparisons where relevant. Data visualization showing economic security impact. Crisis response examples: humanitarian aid, disaster relief. So why can't China do this? Why can't Russia? Why can't anyone else? 3 reasons: trust, capacity, and timing. Let's start with trust. Who actually wants Chinese military bases in their country? Cambodia, maybe. Djibouti reluctantly agreed. That's about it. Countries don't trust China or Russia the way they trust America. Why? Because the United States has a track record. They helped rebuild Europe after World War II. They've honored defense commitments for 80 years. When they say, "We'll defend you," history suggests they mean it. China, they're seen as trying to dominate Asia through debt diplomacy and territorial expansion. Russia, they invaded Georgia, Crimea, and Ukraine. Would you invite Russian troops to set up permanent bases in your country? Most nations say, absolutely not. Second, capacity. Operating military bases in 107 countries requires massive logistics capability. The U.S. has 11 aircraft carriers to project power globally. China has 3. Russia has 1 that barely works. You need transport aircraft, supply chains, fuel networks, infrastructure built over 80 years. Third, timing. The U.S. built this network when it was the only superpower with the capacity after World War II. They filled a vacuum. Now, there is no vacuum. The U.S. is already there. China trying to build this network now would require displacing American presence. Good luck with that. Show the massive capability gap. Make it clear this isn't just military. It's diplomatic, economic, historic. Use graphics to demonstrate why others simply can't replicate this. So here's what this really means. American military power isn't just about having the biggest navy or the most advanced jets. It's about access. It's about being invited into 107 countries, because those countries believe American presence makes them safer and more prosperous. China can build a massive military. Russia can field nuclear weapons. But neither can replicate this network of partnerships, treaties, and trust built over 8 decades. That is the real source of American global dominance. Not just strength, but being wanted. And that's why it will continue for decades to come. Show the big picture conclusion. Make it clear this is about more than just military might. Patriotic but analytical tone. 177 countries, 750 overseas bases, 80 years of partnerships. That's not imperialism. That's strategy. And it's why the United States remains the only true global military power. Because power isn't just what you can do alone. It's what others let you do together. Leave them in awe of the scale, patriotic pride moment. That's the reality of American global military presence. If this opened your eyes to how power actually works, hit subscribe. Next video: why China's military is 20 years behind and why that gap is widening. Links on screen.